Here we go. It's absolutely pissing it down with rain, but to be honest with you, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm just getting the last couple of hoses in place. Let's have a look. Yes, it's been quite a job this. It really has been quite a job replacing these coolant hoses. But here we go. Come on, that one's nearly on. But there were no leaks before, but it's nothing short of a miracle, if I'm honest with you, that none of them were leaking. Where's the other one? Oh, here it is in the water. Yeah, it's nothing short of a miracle that none of them did actually leak quite severely and possibly, catastrophically. It's yeah, here we go. That's it. I think this is the last of the hoses. Oh no, let's pop a couple of Jubilee clamps on. I'm forgetting the clamps. Alright, which way round do we like these? That one goes that way. There we go, there's one. Let's pop the second one on. Two. God, it is raining, I'm getting soaked, but honestly I don't really care. Let's pull that one off. I've forgotten to put the Jubilee clip on. But yeah, any of these hoses that I've replaced, any could have leaked at any time. They're all pretty original to the car from the 80s, and it only takes the smallest of leaks to lose the water and bait the engine. You've got a destroyed head gasket, and believe me, it is no joke changing a head gasket on an overhead cam engine. It's quite a difficult task. It's at some point I'm bound to. I'm determined to keep this car, and at some point, it's going to fail, I suppose. It's the weakness with these engines. It's I can't really point to it from here because everything's on, but the weakness with this engine is the studs. In fact, these are the top of the studs here. Actually, let me just close that. They're getting bloody soaked. There we go. Let me just, I don't want my spanners going rusty. Let me just close this over a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that's it. I'm so used to working out in the street, I don't care about getting wet. I've never had a garage, so I don't know what I'm missing. Here we go. Let's pop that spark lead back on. I had to remove a lot of things. The spark plug lead was just one of the things, so I could get my hands in here. Anyway, let's go back. Yeah, these studs here, and then the same the other side. Those studs are about 18 inches long. They're about as thick as a thumb, and they go all the way down through the block. And they actually are towards the core plugs, sort of about. I don't know if we can see it. Let's have a look. Can I get the camera in? Not really. No. Anyway, roughly where I'm pointing, behind the core plugs, the stud, it sits in water permanently, and the studs can rust, and they become very thin in the middle. That causes the stud, under enormous pressure, under high revs usually, to stretch, and the head lifts. It's only maybe a fraction of a millimetre, but it's enough for the gasket to fail. And that's the most likely sort of failure point on this engine, I'm afraid. And I'm hopeful that it's not going to happen. I'm just going to sit on the doorstep, actually wait for the worst of this rain to pass. Okay, I'm getting bloody soaked here. But as I say to you, the most likely failure on this car is head gasket failure due to stud stretch. If the studs stretch and where they've been sitting in the coolant, they go very thin at that particular point. It just rusts. Maybe it hasn't happened on this engine, but maybe it has. I'm not going to rev it hard. I'm not going to be pressing this engine hard, but I'm going to give it every chance to survive by changing the coolant hoses and being fanatical about oil changes. But the weakness, I'm afraid, on this engine is those cylinder head studs. If they've gone slightly thin behind the core plugs, they will stretch in time, and it will lead to failure. At the end of the day, it would be an absolute nightmare. It would be a big job to do in a garage, but doing in the streets here would be But on a car that isn't rotten, that's basically sound, it's a job that I would undertake. And the head gasket failed on my last Jaguar, but it really wasn't worth doing. It was so rusty, and it wouldn't have been as difficult as this twin cam, but it was so rusty I just didn't bother. But anyway, we'll turn off here. Yeah, it's quite good.